First story. I neglected my daughter because she is my mistake. Now I gave her room to my son's girlfriend and let her sleep on an air mattress. My ungrateful daughter sulked, so I kicked her out and demanded she pay house rent and groceries as her responsibility. She didn't, so I took away her car and sold it as a consequence. Now I'm regretting my actions. I 40F live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my 2 kids. My son Jalen 21M and my daughter Annie 18F. Jalen has 2 kids, a 5-year-old daughter from a previous relationship and an 8-month-old son with his current girlfriend, L22F, who's been living with us since she was about 6 months pregnant. She didn't really have family support, and things were tense with her mom, so she moved in with us while they tried to sort things out and prepare for the baby. I know it's not ideal, especially with space. There are 5 adults and 2 kids in a 2-bedroom. I have my own room. Jalen and Elle share the second room with the kids. Ania sleeps on an air mattress in the living room. We've been talking about moving somewhere bigger, but rent prices are brutal right now, and we're trying to save while juggling everything else. Jalen doesn't work right now. That's not something I'm mad about. He's trying to be present for his newborn and help with his daughter, who's with us most days, especially while Elle is recovering. I told him I'd rather he be home with the kids while they're little than burn out trying to juggle a low-paying job and childcare. We're surviving barely, but Ania's income is a help. She works full-time and has been paying a chunk towards rent and food. Over the past 2 months, Ania's attitude in the house has shifted hard. She's been short with people, withdrawn, and quick to criticize even normal things like walking around, cooking, or the baby crying. At first, I tried to be understanding. She's a young adult, working 5 days a week, coming home to a crowded house. I get that. But it's hit a point where it feels like she's refusing to even try to adapt. And I'll admit it, I'm getting tired of trying to smooth everything over just to keep her from getting annoyed. This isn't new behavior either. Ania's always had a hard time when things didn't go the way she expected. Even when she was younger, she'd have these big reactions over small things. I chalked it up to teenage stress, her time at her dad's place, or needing space. But even now that she's an adult, that same energy is still there, like the world is always inconveniencing her. There's one incident I can't forget from last year. She was still living part-time with her dad back then. One night, Jalen had his daughter over, and she was laughing while watching a movie. Just normal kid giggles. Ania got up, turned off the TV mid-movie, and told Jalen, "You need to control your kid. This is ridiculous." That turned into a huge fight. She said she wasn't being mean, just asking for quiet. But it felt like she was more focused on having control of the space than actually being fair. Now, things have gotten worse since the baby was born. The baby will cry as babies do, and even when Jalen or Elle tend to him quickly, Ania will sigh loudly or huff and make comments like, "Every single night, really?" Or she'll leave her air mattress and go sit in the hallway with a blanket and look at me like I'm supposed to be the one to fix it. One night, around 12:30 am, Jalen was warming up a bottle, and Elle was rocking the baby. Ania came out, visibly irritated, and said, "Can you not cook at midnight? Some of us have work in the morning." Jalen said, "It's just a bottle." She rolled her eyes and walked out. She didn't speak to anyone for 3 days after that. We all started tiptoeing after that. Jalen and Elle now use the oven light instead of the full kitchen light. They'll try to prep food before 10 p.m. Elle even started using her phone flashlight to find stuff in the cabinets, just to avoid setting her off. It hasn't helped. A week ago, Elle warmed up something small at 11:15 p.m. Not even a meal, just a tea and a snack. She used the oven light, closed all the cabinets slowly, and didn't speak. Ania still complained the next morning, saying, "It's the principle. Just because she's living here doesn't mean she can ignore how I feel." At that point, I started getting annoyed too. I told her, "Ania, they're not being loud. They're trying hard. Everyone's trying." Her response, "I don't care. This is my home too. I didn't agree to live with someone else's baby mama and her screaming kid." That hit a nerve. She's lived here rent-free before. She's had space when she needed it. We've all adjusted. And she's not a kid anymore, she's working. And she's got friends, a car, and money saved. She could move if she wanted peace and quiet. But it feels like she doesn't want to leave, she just wants everyone else to change everything around her. A few days after that, she made another comment, this time in front of Elle. The baby had just started crying again, and Elle was already walking him around when Ania walked in from work and said, "Of course. Crying again. Is this every single night now?" Elle didn't say anything. She just left the room. Jalen told Ania, You could say hi first before insulting everyone. She walked right past him. That was the final straw for me. I pulled Anaya aside and told her, "You can't keep acting like this. We're all living together. You either try to make it work, or you figure out another place. I'm tired of the constant tension." She got defensive right away, saying, "So I'm the problem, not the freeloaders with a baby who keeps everyone awake." I told her it's not about picking sides, but she's making the house miserable. Then she said something that made my jaw drop. She's not even family. Why is she still here? Whatever problem she has with her mum isn't our issue. She should have gone back to where she came from. That's where I cut her off. I said, "That's enough. You've crossed the line." I told her she didn't have to pay her portion this month or next, but she needs to start planning to leave. That was me trying to keep it simple. No fights, just a clear direction. Either stay and stop tearing into everyone, or go find a place where she can live how she wants. She stood there for a few seconds, then asked, "So you're really choosing them over me?" I said, "I'm choosing to have a house that isn't full of hostility every day." She didn't say anything after that. Just walked away. Didn't eat dinner. Barely spoke the next day. She's still in the apartment now, acting cold. She doesn't speak to Elle at all, and only talks to me if she needs something. A few people I've talked to said maybe I should have handled it differently. That maybe Ania feels pushed aside. I get that she might feel replaced. But I've tried for 2 months to smooth this over, and she's made it clear she doesn't care about anyone else in this house, unless they're following her rules. Elle walks on her tiptoes. Jaylon barely uses the kitchen past 9 p.m. And the 5-year-old even got scolded for laughing too loud once. I don't know how much more accommodating we can be. And this isn't even about a one-off fight or a few complaints. It's every single day. She'll come home and find something to be mad about. The kitchen light was left on. Someone used the bathroom after 10. There were dishes in the drying rack. The TV was on too early. Nothing major, just constant nitpicking that puts everyone on edge. I've caught her texting in the group chat we share with extended family, saying things like, "I live in a zoo," or "Nobody respects my space." That's fine if she wants to vent, but if she's going to act like she's being abused when people are just trying to survive under one roof, that's not fair. We've helped her. When she needed money last year for car repairs, Jaylon pitched in even though he didn't have much. I've taken over her share of the groceries before. She's had support. But now that the house isn't exactly how she wants it, it's like all of that doesn't count. Suddenly, she's the only one who matters. She keeps saying she's tired and overworked. I get that. Working full-time and coming home to a full house isn't ideal. But no one else is having a relaxing time either. Jaylon hasn't slept more than 3 hours at a time since the baby came. Elle is still recovering from delivery and taking care of 2 kids under 5. I'm working part-time and trying to hold the rest together. Nobody is living their dream life right now. We've talked to her calmly. We've made adjustments. I even tried helping her look at studio apartments in her budget. She won't budge. She keeps saying she shouldn't have to leave her own home. But if you make everyone miserable and act like they're beneath you, I don't know how you can expect to stay. I'm not kicking her out with no warning. I told her she's off the hook financially for 2 months, so she can save or find a place. That's more than fair. She's working. She has options. She's not stuck. But now I feel like I'm being treated as the bad guy for wanting some peace. I've reached my limit. I can't watch her treat everyone like they're invading her space when she's the one refusing to work with the reality of our situation. I do love my daughter. I'm proud of her for working, for being independent in her own way. But I'm also disappointed. I thought she'd at least try to see that we're all trying. Instead, she's made it clear she thinks Elle and the kids are just problems that need to be removed. I know Reddit loves to say, "You're the parent, fix it." But what's the fix when one adult refuses to live with other adults, unless they're silent and invisible? So yeah, I told her to move. Gave her time. Took her rent off the table. Still trying to keep things steady here for everyone else. She's now sulking in the same living room where she says she's miserable, giving everyone the cold shoulder, and acting like she's the only one who's been wronged. So, Ada? Comments. Comment 1. This whole setup is backwards. The person working 5 days a week, contributing money, and sleeping on an air mattress gets told to pack up, while the guy with 2 kids, no job, and zero housing plan gets the bedroom. That's wild. Absolutely wild. A newborn being disruptive isn't some controversial claim, that's reality. Pretending it's a minor inconvenience sounds dismissive as hell when the kid crying happens right where your daughter sleeps. Not behind a door. Not in another room. In her literal sleeping space. At 2 a.m. Before a workday. The favoritism is loud, even if it's unintentional. One child gets protected because he's trying, while the other gets pushed out for reacting to stress. If the goal was fairness, the adults who decided to have kids without housing lined up should be the ones losing comfort. Not the 18-year-old who kept her legs closed, went to work, and paid bills. If she's smart, she'll leave and stop being the safety net for choices she didn't make. Can't blame her if she cuts contact too. This would stick with anyone. Comment 2. This is enabling, plain and simple. A 21-year-old already has 2 kids with 2 women and still doesn't have his own place. That didn't happen overnight. That's a pattern. And the message being sent here is loud. Keep making choices. Someone else will absorb the fallout. Meanwhile, the 18-year-old with no kids is stuck on an air mattress in a common space, financing part of the household, and getting lectured for wanting sleep. Anyone would be bitter. Anyone. The anger didn't come from nowhere. It came from watching the bar sit on the floor for one kid, while the other is expected to be endlessly flexible. It's not about hating babies or being dramatic. It's about privacy, dignity, and basic stability. She lost her room, her quiet, and now her place in the family order. And the solution wasn't asking the father of 2 to step up, it was telling her to go. That kind of choice changes relationships long term. Even if she leaves without drama, she won't forget who was prioritized when things got hard. YTA. Comment 3. You're not wrong for being fed up. But damn, this whole thing reads like a pot that's been boiling over for years. Your daughter doesn't sound like she just snapped out of nowhere. From how you described her past reactions, flipping out over minor stuff, staying mad for days, she's been carrying resentment for a while. And this baby situation just tipped it. Here's what's sitting weird with me. She works full-time, helps cover bills, sleeps on an air mattress in the damn living room, and now has to tiptoe around people who aren't even trying to contribute financially. If this was a short-term emergency, fine. But it sounds like the son and his girlfriend are settling into, this is just how we live now. No income, 2 kids, and living rent-free. That'd piss off most people. You're trying to keep the peace, but it kind of feels like she's being punished for being the only one holding SHT together. Everyone else gets accommodations, and she gets told to leave. I don't think she's handling it well, but I get why she's pissed. Doesn't mean she's right about how she's acting, but it makes sense. Update. So a lot has happened since my last post. I've read every comment, even the ones that were hard to swallow. I'll be honest, I didn't change my mind right away. I stuck to my decision. I told Anaya she needed to move out, and she did. I didn't expect it to happen so fast. One day she came home and said she was staying with someone from work, maybe a classmate too. She wouldn't say clearly. Packed up her things and left. I haven't seen her since, and she hasn't responded to anything I've sent her. She blocked me on everything except email. What stings the most is that she walked out like we were strangers. I kept thinking she'd cool off and come back once she realized we weren't the enemy. Instead, nothing. It's like she disappeared. I need her help. Financially, things have fallen apart. I thought Jaylon would step up. He said he would. He got a job for 3 weeks at a warehouse. I had hope. But then the night shifts got too much with a baby, and he quit. No notice. Elle tried looking for part-time remote stuff, but didn't get far. And honestly, I can't blame her. She's still up half the night with the baby, breastfeeding, barely functioning. Now we're back to one income mine. And that barely covers rent and food. Before Anya left, she paid a percentage of the rent, helped with groceries, and even covered gas and utilities some months. She didn't make a fortune working at a fast food place, but she was the most reliable earner in the house. I told myself she'd come back. I even tried apologizing over email. Told her if she moved back, she could have her own room once we moved. We're looking at a slightly bigger unit, a 3-bedroom, if we can lock it in before the lease ends. I promised she'd get a door, a real bed, and no more sharing space. Just help out with rent again. She didn't respond. I won't lie, I tried a few things after that I'm not proud of. I reminded her the kids miss her. Sent pictures of the baby. Told her niece cried, asking where she was. Thought it might soften her. Nothing. I even asked Jaylon to reach out, thinking maybe she'd hear it better from him. She left him on read. I got desperate. I asked her to at least keep her name on the lease, just until we get settled. Told her she could visit on her own terms, not live here full-time if she didn't want to. I said we just needed her name for security, something landlords look at. Again, silence. The money is a bigger problem than I'm letting on. Bills are stacking up. We've cut groceries to essentials only. I had to borrow from my sister for the deposit on the new unit. Ania used to keep this house afloat, and she walked away like none of it mattered. So yes, I tried changing her work deposit info. Her paycheck goes direct deposit, and I knew her login from when she asked me to help her set up auto bill pay last year. I figured if I just rerouted a portion of it to my account, she'd notice and we could talk. But the change didn't go through. They flagged it and sent her a notification. She didn't report me, and I'm grateful, but she changed all her passwords after that. I know I crossed a line, but I was drowning. She should have helped. Then came the car. Technically, it's in my name. I co-signed when we got it together last year. She made the payments. I helped with the down payment. It was supposed to be her first step towards independence. So I made the call. I told her to return the car. She refused. I gave her a deadline. She ignored it. I reported it as needing repossession and got the police involved. It's in my name. I'm planning to sell it. We need the cash. Her leaving might have hurt, but leaving with something that wasn't legally hers. I wasn't going to let that slide. She sent me one email afterwards, short, bitter, and final. Said I proved exactly what kind of parent I am. That one hit harder than I want to admit. Jaylon's ex also found out about our living situation. Not sure who tipped her off, maybe one of Anaya's social media friends, but now she's threatening to take him back to court for full custody of the 5-year-old. Says we're over-occupying the place and it's not safe. I'm scrambling to make the house look livable before someone comes knocking. I've spent money I don't have trying to make it look better on paper. Meanwhile, Elle's doing what she can. She's gentle with the baby and respectful in the house, and I've got no issues with how she carries herself. She stays in her lane, doesn't talk back, doesn't make scenes. She handles her baby while Jaylon tries in his own way to keep things running. He's not lazy. He just isn't built for pressure. He shuts down. Always has. I'm frustrated. Not at the kids. Not even at Elle. But at Ania. She was the one I thought would understand that sometimes family sacrifices. She used to say that. She used to be the one making sure we had groceries in the fridge. Now she's off living some quiet life while we can't make it through a month. I know people are going to call me a bad mother. I've read the old comments. Some of you said I chose my son over my daughter. That I enabled him. But I'm a mother. I had a newborn under my roof. A 5-year-old who needed dinner. A girl recovering from childbirth. What was I supposed to do? Ask them to leave? Anaya could have helped. She chose not to. She's not a victim here. She walked away knowing the whole household depended on her paycheck. And now, when I ask for even part of it, I get nothing. I'm ashamed of how she turned out. I thought I raised someone who understood what it meant to stick by your people. She didn't even say goodbye to the kids. And maybe this is where I'm wrong. Maybe I pushed too hard. Maybe I kept expecting her to act like the older sibling when she just wanted to be 18. But I can't fix this alone. I wanted her to come back. I offered her privacy. A door. A room. Just a promise she'd contribute again and keep her name on the lease so we could secure a stable place. She walked away. I don't want to go to court. I don't want to keep playing tug of war over a car. I just want her to realize what she left behind, and that she still has a responsibility to the people who stood by her when she had nothing. So yeah, maybe I've made mistakes, maybe I reacted poorly. But I'm out of options. If I lose this next lease, I don't know where we'll go. I'm trying to protect babies. I'm trying to protect this family. And I'm asking, what else am I supposed to do? If she's so mature now, like everyone says, then she should understand that adults don't walk away from the people who need them. I'm asking Reddit again. Was I wrong to tell her to leave? Was I wrong to expect her to still help the household when she was part of it for so long? Or is it on her now, and I'm just the one dealing with the fallout? Comments. Comment 1. This update went from messy to outright alarming. The financial desperation explains your panic, but it doesn't excuse what you did. Trying to reroute her paycheck. Getting cops involved over a car she paid for in practice, even if the paperwork favors you. That's the kind of thing that permanently shatters trust. What sticks out is how much pressure you've placed on the youngest adult in the house. She wasn't just contributing, she was subsidizing choices she never made. Meanwhile, the adults who created the situation keep getting pass after pass. Saying you're protecting babies doesn't magically make it okay to squeeze your daughter until she bolts. She didn't betray anyone. She left a situation where she was sleeping in a common area, paying real money, and being told her stress was inconvenient. Once she left, instead of reflecting, You went straight to clawing back resources from her. Of course she's bitter. Anyone would be. Comment 2. Reading this, it feels like you're drowning and grabbing whatever floats by. Unfortunately, that float happened to be your daughter. The fear and money stress come through clearly. I don't doubt you're terrified of losing housing with kids involved. That part's human. Where things break down is the story you're telling yourself about responsibility. Your daughter had no kids, no partner, and no legal obligations to the household beyond what she voluntarily gave. When she left, she stopped being a contributor. That's how independence works. Expecting ongoing support afterwards turned into entitlement without you realizing it. What also stands out is how you describe everyone else with understanding exhaustion, recovery, stress, while describing your daughter with shame and disappointment. That imbalance probably existed before she left, and she felt it. Once she walked out, the bridge wasn't just burnt, it was bulldozed. Comment 3. The son is being handled with kid gloves, while the daughter was treated like an emergency resource. That imbalance isn't subtle. One adult brings dependence into the world without stability and remains housed and protected. Another adult works, pays, sacrifices privacy, then exits and suddenly becomes the family problem. Quitting a job with a newborn in the house isn't a neutral choice. It transferred risk to everyone else, particularly the person bringing in the most consistent money. No wonder resentment grew. The situation won't stabilize until accountability lands where it belongs. Right now, it's been redirected away from the son and piled onto the daughter. That's why the fallout looks this bad. Update. If you read my previous updates, you know everything fell apart the second Anaya moved out. But I didn't expect just how bad things would get after that. I did call the cops over the car. I won't pretend otherwise. She left with it, but it's in my name. I was desperate. I needed to sell it, fast. Rent was due, and I had no backup plan. After the police got involved, she sent a legal notice. They made it clear I had to pay to settle and give up the title. I had to pull from my emergency savings, and now I've got nothing left. What makes it worse? She bought another car. I saw it parked outside her new apartment building when I drove by there. I did that, and no, I'm not proud. She's got a job, new roommates, and a new life. She's fine. But I'm still stuck cleaning up everything she left behind. After that, I tried to move forward. I thought if I could just hold the house together until the new lease came through, we'd survive. We didn't. The landlord found out about the complaint she made to the cops about the overcrowding, the noise, and the whole car situation. They pulled the lease offer. I begged. I even offered to pay 3 months upfront money I didn't have, and they still said no. So now we're packing. No place to go. Living in boxes, with 2 babies in the middle of the mess. It gets worse. Jaylon's ex followed through with the custody case. The hearing isn't over yet, but the way the judge talks, I already know what's coming. They brought up the housing situation, my financial instability, and how I'm taking care of 2 babies while working part-time. They know we don't have space. The court's leaning towards full custody for his ex. If that happens, Jaylon's going to break, and I don't know how much more I can carry. Jaylon's completely distracted now, obsessed with this case. He stopped trying to get a job again. Every time I bring it up, he shuts down or says he needs to be mentally ready to fight for his kid. Elle noticed. She's tired. She said it plain she's thinking about leaving. She told me she feels invisible. Said Jaylon barely touches her anymore. He's either on the phone with lawyers or arguing with his ex. And yeah, I'll admit it. I was the one who told him to stay home and care for the baby when Elle was recovering. I thought I was helping. I thought it made sense. I didn't want the baby in daycare, and we couldn't afford it anyway. I said, let her rest, be a dad. But now Elle says she resents me too, that I encouraged him not to work. And now she's stuck with someone who won't grow up. Then everything really blew up. Jaylon and Elle had a huge fight. He went through her messages again. I'm not proud of it, but I was in the room when it happened. He was holding the baby when he saw something. She tried to grab the phone, but it was too late. The texts were there. I don't know how long it was going on, but she admitted it. The baby might not even be his. She said it in the heat of the argument. You don't even know if he's yours. He lost it. He handed me the baby, grabbed his stuff, and walked out. Came back 3 hours later and said she had to go. She refused. They argued again. She packed her bags and left with the baby the next day. Now I'm sitting in this apartment that isn't even ours anymore, with half our stuff in boxes, and no clue what happens next. Jaylon says he's done. Doesn't care if the baby is his or not. He says he can't raise another man's child, and doesn't want her back. But I raised him. I raised both of them. My husband left when Anaya was born. She isn't his. She was the product of my worst mistake, and he left because of it. But I didn't give up. I kept going. I raised her like my own blood. So I don't think Jaylon can raise a baby just because things are messy. That boy is still innocent. None of this is his fault. I've tried to talk to Jaylon. I've begged him to reconsider. Told him we can figure it out, test or no test. But he's shutting down again. Says I ruined his life. Says if I hadn't pushed him to stay, to settle, he could have done something better. I don't even recognize him right now. And Anya. Still no contact. She filed her taxes already. I can't even claim her like I used to. She's making it clear she wants nothing to do with us. I even tried going by her job again. I waited outside, thinking if she saw my face, she might soften. One of her coworkers came out and told me to leave. Said I was making things worse. I don't know what to do anymore. My mother won't help. She told me I brought this on myself. Said I shouldn't have tried to reroute Anya's paychecks or called the cops over the car. She won't even babysit. I'm tired. I'm 40, and my back feels like I'm 60. I can't carry groceries without pain. I have no support. My daughter could help. I know she could. She always managed the bills better than me. She paid the electric without being asked. She knew what day trash went out and what day rent was due. She was the responsible one. And now she's gone. Happy. Free. Driving her new car. Working full-time. Paying her own way. I'm not saying she didn't earn it. I'm saying she left us behind while everything burned down. I begged her to come back. Offered her the room. Offered peace. She said no. That's fine. She can stay gone. But then help me. Everyone says I'm the problem. That I failed. I'm not perfect. I did what I had to do to keep a roof over our heads. I raised kids on my own. I protected my son when he was lost. I helped a girl through childbirth who wasn't even family. I sacrificed more than anyone will ever know. I asked my daughter for help, not blood. And now she treats me like I'm some monster. So stop mocking me. Stop telling me what I should have done. I need advice. I need a plan. I need to get Jaylon to stop sulking and either take Elle back or step up for the baby. I need to get through this lease mess and find somewhere we can stay. And if there's any hope left, I need to get Anya back, even if it's just on the lease. Even if she never speaks to me again, I need that security. I don't care if she's still mad. She's smart. She's grown. She should understand we're all stuck in bad situations sometimes, and family helps out. She used to believe that. I'm asking for real advice. I know I messed up. But someone tell me how to fix this. I'm not giving up. Not when there are still babies involved. Comments. Comment 1. This whole mess reads like projection wrapped in denial. You cheated, your marriage blew up, and instead of dealing with that fallout, you shoved it into your daughter's lap and called it family duty. She didn't just grow up fast, she got drafted. You lent on her money, her organization, and her maturity, then turned around and treated her like a disposable resource once she stopped complying. Meanwhile, the son keeps making the same mistakes over and over, and somehow he's still the one worth protecting at all costs. Golden child energy, loud and clear. And the girlfriend cheating. Of course you're pushing your son to forgive her. You need that narrative to work. If cheating is survivable, forgivable, and workable, then maybe your own past doesn't look so ugly. But your daughter refusing to accept chaos and walk quietly back into it. That's what you can't stand. You don't want her back as a daughter. You want her back as a cushion. And she knows it. Comment 2. Reading this makes me ache for your daughter. I don't think she left because she didn't care. I think she left because she did. For too long, without anything coming back. You kept saying she used to take care of things. That's the part that hits. She took care of stuff no 18-year-old should have had to: bill management, utilities, co-signed car, household logistics. She didn't just contribute, she ran things. And the second she stopped being your financial safety net, you tried to break her independence. You tried to reroute her paycheck. You called the police. And now you're asking Reddit how to get her back, like she's a misplaced credit card. People leave when survival turns into obligation. You wanted her loyalty without offering her peace. She built her own. Let her keep it. Comment 3. There's a thread running through this whole story that no one wants to touch, but it explains almost everything. Your daughter being an affair baby didn't just end your marriage, it rewired how you see her. You didn't abandon her, but you also never stopped paying the price for what she represents. Reading this update, it feels like she's been carrying your guilt tab her entire life. look at the roles. The son gets endless grace, endless do-overs, and endless excuses. The daughter gets responsibility, pressure, and shame. She becomes the financial plug, the emotional shock absorber, the one expected to understand while everyone else collapses. That didn't start when she turned 18, it's been there a long time. Now layer in the cheating. The girlfriend cheats, and suddenly it's complicated, something to work through, something the son should reconsider. When your daughter leaves, she's painted as disloyal. That's not accidental. You're far more forgiving towards people who mirror your own mistakes than towards the one who reminds you of them. That's a brutal thing for a kid to grow up under. Update. This will probably be my last update, and I'm only writing it because I don't have anyone else to talk to. I've lost my home, my job, and my kids, and at this point, I don't think I'll ever get my daughter back. We're not in the apartment anymore. The lease fell through, and I couldn't talk the landlord into extending the current one. They said too many complaints, too much chaos, too much risk. We stayed with a friend for a week, but that was it. I applied to 2 emergency housing programs, filled out all the paperwork, and got denied. The car incident and the income tampering got flagged. Apparently, any reported financial exploitation disqualifies you from some of the better support programs. The woman at the office even looked at me sideways when I explained it. I knew right then I wasn't getting in. So we ended up in a budget motel, one of those ones where you pay weekly and try not to think about how thin the walls are. It was me, Jalon, and the baby. Elle was long gone by then. Let me go back. After the fight between Jalon and Elle, she left with the baby and said she'd figure things out. She texted me a couple of times about needing diapers and needing help, but then she stopped responding. A few days later, we found out she left the baby with one of her cousins. The cousin called Jalon and told him that Elle took off. No warning, no plan, just gone. The cousin was watching the baby temporarily, but made it clear it wouldn't be long. Jalon panicked. I didn't know what to do. We scraped together the gas money, drove over, and picked him up. No paperwork, no signatures. Just a baby in a car seat, and a cousin who looked just as lost as we did. It should have been a wake-up call for Jalon. But it wasn't. He held the baby, got emotional, and said he wanted to be better, and then he fell right back into the same pattern. Couldn't commit to work, couldn't handle job interviews. He said he was focused on bonding, and didn't want to leave the baby with strangers. I said fine, I'd figure it out. But I couldn't. Not for long. I was still working part-time at a local business, won't name it. Doesn't matter now, and they let me go after they caught me looking up old HR contacts, trying to figure out where Anaya was working now. I know how that sounds. I wasn't trying to steal from her or mess with her job. I just thought if I could get a message to someone she worked with, maybe they could talk to her and get her to see reason. I got caught. They pulled me into a back room and terminated me on the spot. I didn't even fight it. I was tired. With no job and no housing, things unraveled fast. The motel manager started pushing us out the second we fell behind on the weekly payment. Jalon was trying to sell his Xbox to cover formula. I tried to call my mother again. She hung up on me. Said until I make things right with Ania, I'm not her daughter. The woman who held me when my husband walked out now pretends I'm dead. I reached out to Ania one more time. Sent her a long email. Told her everything about Elle disappearing, about the eviction, about losing my job, about the baby, about how Jalon was falling apart. I said I was sorry. I said I needed her. I asked her to come back, even if she didn't live with us, just to sign on to the new lease and help us qualify. Just until I could find a new job. She responded a week later. She sent me a Google Doc. A full list of everything she ever paid for groceries, utility bills, gas, rent percentages. She included dates, amounts, and even receipts from her email. At the bottom, she wrote, "This is what I was worth to you. Paid in full. Don't contact me again." That was it. Jalon saw the message. He didn't say anything. Just stared at it for a while, then got up and left the motel room for hours. When he came back, he said he didn't want to talk about her anymore. The next day, he packed a duffel and took the baby. He said he was staying with his first kid's mom's family. Said they offered him space, and he was going to get his life together for real this time. He wouldn't tell me the address. Just said he'd let me know when he found something stable. So I'm here, alone, in the motel, with one bag of clothes and no income. I've called every agency I can think of. No one can help me until I prove housing or job stability, and I have neither. I thought maybe if I sold a few things, my jewelry, an old TV, I could rent a room, but it wasn't enough. I'm waiting on Snap and trying to get emergency assistance again. But the list is long and the rejections come fast. I don't know what else to say. I miss my daughter. I miss my son, even if he resents me. I miss my granddaughter, my grandson, the noise in the apartment, the chaos, and even the arguments. I miss feeling like I mattered to someone. I raised them both. I carried them through years of struggle. I did what I thought was right. I made hard choices. Maybe they were the wrong ones, I see that now. But I was trying to keep the family together. Maybe I failed at that, too. So here I am, asking for advice again, not judgment. Not mockery. Not another list of what I did wrong. I've read them. I've lived them. I know. I just want to know how to get back up. What the first step is when you've lost everything. How to survive long enough to make something right, if there's anything left to make right. Comments. Comment 1. This is the first update that honestly broke me. Not for you, for her. Anaya gave everything. Her money, her peace, her youth. She was 18 and budgeting your household like a single mom. And when did she stop? You hunted her like an asset that ran off. That Google Doc wasn't just a bill. It was a timeline of everything you didn't say thank you for. That was her closure. Her version of this is the debt you forced me into, and I'm done. And now you're in a motel with nothing and wondering how to fix it. You don't. Not with her. Maybe not with Jaylon either. But you can sit in the fallout and finally feel what they've been carrying for years. That's step 1. Comment 2. I was your daughter. Paid my mom's rent, co-signed her car, and watched her blow up every bridge and call it just surviving. It took me years to stop feeling guilty for walking away. You didn't raise kids. You raised dependents. And when one of them fought their way out, you turned into a creditor. Don't talk about missing the noise when you treated your own daughter like a line of credit that dried up. Jaylon left too. So maybe it wasn't just Anaya's attitude. Maybe you were the one person in the house no one felt safe around once they stopped being useful. You keep asking how to get up. Start by sitting down with that truth and not running from it for once. Second story. I just wanted chocolate oranges for Christmas for years, but every year I got denied. If I don't get them this Christmas, I will lose my mind. I should start by giving a background as to who I am. I'm 27 years old. I live about an hour from my hometown, and I visit my folks pretty regularly, but especially for holidays. Now, I realize I've lost many of you with my age. I understand that in a large number of families, only kids really get Christmas gifts, and you may be right. But in mine, adults gift to adults, kids gift to kids gift to adults gift to kids, and everybody gets something. Now, I hate telling people what I want for Christmas birthday stuff. Feels entitled, I know. Irony of posting a complaint on Reddit, and then saying I'm not entitled to ask for stuff. Since I was 12, I didn't want people to get me birthday gifts or throw me a party, and largely my family respected that. But that still left Christmas. Now, when my grandpa was alive, I remember he'd always go to the local European grocery. He was an ethnic Hungarian from Austria, and get a few of those chocolate oranges. The big ones you have to smack on the table before opening to get the pieces to separate. He died back in 2017, and I miss him terribly. And every year when my family asks, "What do you want for Christmas?" I tell them, one of those chocolate oranges, like Papa used to get. And they never do it. Now, I know that sounds super silly. Why don't you just get your own damn orange? I don't know, it just isn't the same, somehow. It's a thing I associate with my family just having it home suddenly around Christmas. And I'm chasing that experience, and I know it'll never be the same. But still, I just remember cracking them open with my cousins and walking around the room to all the aunts and uncles going, "Hey, over here, I'll take a piece," etc. And I just miss that a whole lot. Every year, what do you want for Christmas? Chocolate orange, and every year no chocolate orange. Literally the only thing I ask for. And I know I shouldn't be upset about it. There are people who don't even get a decent meal on Christmas, let alone presents. But somehow year after year, I get a few Temu or Five Below things, which will be thrown out pretty much as fast as they came in. And I question, well, why the hell didn't they just get the damn orange? It would have cost less, been more appreciated, and been consumed only marginally faster than the other junk. It's literally the only thing I ask for. This year, I've got my dad a new seat cover and a slow-moving vehicle triangle for his tractor. I got my brother, who just started college, a used folding bike and replaced the tires and grips and greased the chain, etc. Because he doesn't want to bring his bike from home up and have it stolen. I got a few jigsaw puzzles for my stepmom. She likes to do them, and a set of Lincoln Logs for my cousin's kids. And I'm excited to watch them open the presents I got them. And I'm sure whatever they got me will be great. But I just get so disappointed every year when there is no damn orange. And this is 8 years since Papa died. And, well, I don't know. There's nothing really significant about 8 years. But I'm just certain that come Christmas morning, if there's no damn orange, I'm going to lose it. Update. Hello all. Hope everybody had a nice set of holidays and is enjoying the new year. Many of you replied to my previous post regarding my frustration at not receiving a chocolate orange for Christmas. If that sounds stupid, it's because it kind of is. But you can read the original post for context. Just wanted to update everybody on how it all shook out. Well, my dad and mum both really enjoyed the gifts I got them. My cousin's kids chose my Lincoln Logs gift as the one they wanted to open and play with at the family gathering over and above a set of small trucks that look like dinosaurs, which all park on a larger dinosaur truck. High praise. My brother. Well, he didn't like the bike much, I guess. Mister, hey, I want to explore the city more. I don't want to bring my bike up in case it gets stolen. Suddenly wasn't so interested in a non-stealable bike he could explore the city on. Later he had the gall to say to us, I just wish I had gotten something practical, as though he hadn't just gotten the most practical thing any college student could have. Anyway, you can't win 'em all. A few days before Christmas my folks and I were in Target, and I saw the chocolate oranges. I pointed them out and was met with a yuck. Who likes those? So that was about as fun as you'd imagine. Now, many of you suggested, rightly, that I just become the relative who brings chocolate oranges for the kids. And so I did. It was really a very food memories-centric celebration this year. I gave the kids the oranges just the way they were. Dark chocolate, orange flavor. Kind of gross to the kids, but the sort of thing they came back for more of after a few minutes. Fond memories from the adults. My uncle brought relish sandwiches, following a discussion about having fed my dad those when tasked with watching him as a kid. Yep, just white bread with hot dog relish on it. We had a great time, and I've become the weird relative who brings candy that isn't that great, but which you come to associate with Christmas time forever. As for me, it doesn't really matter what I got. A few cans of rust reformer spray on account of my nearly 26-year-old car being a little rusty in places, a tube of Twix bars, and a pizzazz from the White Elephant. I got to see some kids who are going through their parents' divorce's eyes light up when they opened a box I gave them. Got to remember being that young. Got to remember my own grandfather for a little while. All in all, you gave great advice, and I feel quite a bit more at peace with the whole thing. Thank you all for that. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.